Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're a current subscriber. Today I'm analyzing Blake Lively's body language and possibly two different interviews, so let's get into this.
We've saged the room. I've emotionally saged. Sorry. We're going to eat some chocolate croissants now.
So, I feel like your character is like the most confident woman in the world, and yours is like very insecure.
Yeah.
Are you guys, but you guys are like...
So first off, I want to note that the interviewer, Kjiersti, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is already sort of anxious. She makes this movement as if she is literally holding something that is fragile. So quite possibly she already understands that this might be a bit of a touchy subject or question, especially given how the beginning of this interview seems to have gone, where the ladies, Anna, Kendrick, and Blake Lively, already seem to be a bit anxious, with Anna doing grooming behaviors. That is an indication of anxiety, and they both have their hands in their lap. Anna's a bit fidgety, so already they're a bit nervous about something here. And so it's possible that Kjiersti's movement there is as if she's holding something literally fragile because she's approaching a potentially touchy subject.
Both of you have this attitude about you that...
In real life, it's the other way around, and I constantly have to call Blake and be like, it's okay, you're good at giving interviews, I promise you, people like you, they respect you. A lot of talk. Gotta give her a pep talk. I'm like, we're amazing.
I also want you to note how the two are sitting. Anna Kendrick is more of a personable person. She's always reaching out, very much wanting to connect with people, and you can see that here, where she's facing Blake and Blake's facing the interviewer, not really even looking too much at Kendra in the first place. Now, Anna does have another grooming behavior. She's a bit anxious and she's explaining, but she makes these emphatic, this is what I have to do. So that is just confirmation of what she's saying and emphasis on what she's saying there.
Amazing, we're powerful. True. I mean, I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning. And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So, yeah. I learned a lot.
Yeah. But are you good at telling yourself these things? Because I think
I also want you to note that at one point Anna says, I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning. So that can be seen as a submissive movement there, but most of the time it's more exasperation, sort of as if you were saying, this guy back here, he wouldn't... It's exasperation, possible annoyance that she has to give Blake these pet talks, and Blake, of course, snaps back passive-aggressively when I learn a lot from her. And then you see Anna look down. She's not particularly happy, of course, about this remark, and then they continue the interview.
We're the only person who can tell ourselves that we're good and that we're to give ourselves confidence, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it feels good when Anna gives me confidence, too. I like compliments. I'm not below compliments. That's what my mom always says. She's like, wants me to compliment her, and she's like, I'm not below compliments. I'm like, it's clear that you're not, because she's always soliciting. Okay, because you were just telling me about like weird expressions that she gets wrong. Wouldn't it be, I'm not above compliments? Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, she gets it all wrong. I never even thought about it. She says that, yes, she's not above compliments. My mom gets everything sort of...
Like Blake's movements, while they could indicate wanting to reach out and connect with somebody, which is typically what you see more from Anna, it's more of a shooing away, smacking away behavior, not a reaching out, not a connection, not a personable movement that Blake is doing there. It's tapping and poking, and those are not soothing, calming, connecting, warm movements there. So I want you to note that. And then, of course, Anna's still facing Blake, and Blake is still facing the interviewer. She does briefly look over at Anna, but she's not really acknowledging Anna being there too much.
Expression, she was just telling me she'll be like, funny, smooth as pie. Should be smooth as silk or whatever. Easy as pie. Yeah, and smooth as silk. But my mom, I think, is a very confident person, and so for me, yeah, I sort of like struggled with that because I've sometimes judged her for being so confident. Which I think is like not fair, right? Yeah, you're such a bad...
Blake is a bit fidgety. If you notice her hands, she's fidgety as if she's anxious, even though her leading this direction sort of towards Anna, ironically, does indicate she's becoming a little comfortable there.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's good. Get it out.
Realize.
So both of you are very active on social media, and there are a lot of people have opinions about not let it affect you at all.
Everyone's opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do, because everyone's like, you're great, and I'm like, I know. You're not great. Blocked. Yeah.
So you see a small flash of contempt from Blake Lively. Part of her face goes up. That is in contempt, but she's not really comfortable or liking what she's stating there. Then you see some eyebrow flashes, and then an eye roll. All of this indicating passive-aggressive behaviors, of course, and her not being confident and comfortable and wanting to really honestly and confidently just answer the question. She is snarking a bit with Anna Kendrick. It seems like friendly banter, but this is more passive aggression. It's supposed to be taken as friendly banter, but it is now known that those two weren't necessarily best friends in real life.
Yeah.
So do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah. You can mute people on Instagram?
Yeah, it's a new feature.
Really? I know. Get excited. That's exciting.
But you were...
So, of course, Anna starts to discuss blocking people on Instagram, says she really doesn't do that, but she mutes people. She turns to Blake, which could be a confirmation glance looking, does she approve, does she disapprove of me muting or blocking? Really though, it was a subtle, have you noticed who I've muted? Because in this interview, literally the title is Blake Lively is blocked by Anna Kendrick on Instagram. So it's most likely Anna looking over to see, did you know that I blocked you? Which Blake doesn't necessarily confirm or deny in any way. She does look at Anna, probably the first time in this interview that she actually looks at Anna and acknowledges her presence, but there's no indication that it's friendly, that this is friendly banter, that this is all a joke. Just Blake looking at Anna, and Anna actually is the one this time turning to the interviewer, and interestingly, Anna turns to the interviewer and not so much to Blake, whispers, of course, I blocked Blake Lively. Which Blake immediately starts to talk over Anna and wants to move on past this narrative that she's been blocked by Anna Kendrick because that is drama that most likely she does not want.
Applied to someone recently, I think, which they made headlines about. On Instagram, yes. Someone was saying something about a spelling or something, and you just...
Oh my gosh, I always appreciate when people correct me. It wasn't, someone said something about the spacing. I still really don't know how social media works. So if someone tells me how to fix spacing on something, hyperlinks, it was hard to hyperlink. I don't know. I use an iPhone. It does everything for me.
Yeah.
So can we talk about...
So interestingly, you see some emphatic, some forehead creases and eyebrows going up when she says, who knows how to work technology? So that part she's being and trying to put importance on when she says that she loves being blocked. You don't see that forehead crease. You don't see that eyebrow flash or any expression that shows confirmation of that. In fact, her eyes sort of go like this as if she's shaking her head no with her eyes. It's possible we're not seeing that. None of this is a guarantee, but it's interesting she did that movement when she was saying something in the affirmative. I love when people, this is typically what you do. I love when people correct her. So a bit deceptive there.
About the alcohol now, because I've heard that's been a big talk today.
Yeah, we've been making cupcakes. We've been passing out drinks. We can have an old rotten olive.
That's all I get.
Feel free. You know, that's the only way we got people to come to this junket. We said we are handing out.
We have cupcakes. We have olives.
I have an old tea. Throwing in it.
Is it really alcohol in that one?
That one's not really, but there's a lot of free stuff underway.
Now, these two are very media-trained celebrities. They know how to do interviews confidently. So in this, where they're self-grooming, fidgeting, they're mirroring each other, but not fully with their bodies facing towards each other. They're only looking at each other at certain parts of this, not fully acknowledging each other. No sign of friendliness or warmth towards them. They just seem awkward and anxious, and I think there's a lot to be said there. Given Blake Lively's recent action, now on to the next interview.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
We've got two nice ones.
And these, they are kind of...
Right off the bat, this poor interviewer is trying to make this friendly, congratulatory remark. They're trying to connect with Blake, be personable, and Blake immediately points, what about yours? And saps, what about yours? But then she turns towards her friend here, I don't know who that is, turns toward her friend here, almost refuses to look at Kjiersti, the interviewer.
Bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so, like, visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would. And I love
So notice some lip blocking going on, some lip compression actually, where Blake makes this remark, and that's an indication of dislike, of wanting to say more, but kind of holding back. You see that lip compression there. Her friend is being a bit snarky, and I believe that Blake is really playing into that. They're turned towards each other, talking more to each other. Blake again isn't looking directly at the interviewer, making any sort of connection there, even though her friend and her are really talking about something that she should be brave enough to tell the interviewer. She's not confident, and you even see that fidgeting and her leg shaking there, indicating she's not confident about what she's saying, but she's looking towards her friend in confirmation, for approval, for connection there, and not so much with the interviewer.
Jesse's
He's so beautiful. That's what I'm saying. His wardrobe was beautiful. Corey's wardrobe was gorgeous. Those high-waisted pants.
He's so great.
I would wish men wore high-waisted pants like that still.
Me too.
Like that father with his tank top.
It's so good.
It's just like that. You can feel it.
Tablecloth.
Blake continues to be very warm towards her friend and continuing to connect with her friend, even reaching out to her friend, while this poor interviewer just sits there being silent, probably not knowing what to say here. But you can see Kjiersti's head is back a little bit here, as if, okay, I've been excluded from this, and I'm just going to sit and wait patiently, but a bit taken aback there.
Up on the light in the Italian restaurant with the spaghetti.
I didn't notice that. No.
There's so much warmth of everything. You know?
Yeah, it's not just the women that have the clothes. I mean, I feel like the women get the conversation, but it's like every detail with everybody.
Yeah, so it was amazing to look at. And then
these white suits.
Yes.
And then you notice
Blake glances very briefly at Kjiersti as she's, and I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. She very briefly glances at Kjiersti and she says, yeah, it's not just the women that get the clothes. And then back to her friend who had also briefly literally side-eyed this poor interviewer.
It's in LA, like everybody's in cream colors and all the men are wearing like white and cream, and then you get to New York and it's a little bit more browns and moodier, and Susie really told such a story
amazing.
Alongside Vittorio, because it is a lot brighter and sunnier in LA, and New York has just a steaminess to it.
And I think, the whole Hollywood glam, it's so glamorous. Can you relate to the things they were saying about Hollywood? It's so easy to get seduced by the fame and the money and the glam.
You see it all the time. That was one of my favorite things about the movie, were the subtle turns to their own transition into like the ego of showbiz that Kristen has in that scene with.
I also want you to notice the difference between this interview with this friend versus the interviewer prior to this that I showed with Anna Kendrick, where Anna was facing Blake, Blake was facing the interviewer. In this, Blake's facing her friend's facing her. The interviewer is mostly left out of this.
Steve Carell, and then with Bobby taking on the persona of a club owner, but still, like, these are things you do when you're an adult.
Yeah.
When you have to work, you have to. You play a part. You play at your life in a way that you find successful, or so it's a lot about choices, and then they carry this.
Everybody's sort of fidgety except for the friend. So you notice the interviewer just waiting on her turn here a bit anxiously. Blake is fidgeting here. She's waiting to jump in and mention something. Again, a difference between this and her interview with Anna Kendrick, where she just talked over people and dominated a lot of the conversation. But here, she's being very warm, very friendly with her friend, and this interviewer has been excluded from this conversation. At the same time, they're not all confident, so you could tell there's a bit of tension in this room.
This love, and it's just very, very grown up.
To see where they came from, though, and see how authentic these people truly are, and what good people they truly are, too.
Yeah.
It's what you would see from the outside of the cafe society. You could dismiss each of their characters,
right.
But to see what a heart and soul each of them have is nice, and it's something that, that's the thing, as far as like relating to it personally, that you see, you have these ideas of people that you're fans of, and then you meet them and get to know them as a person, and oftentimes you're such a greater fan of them as a person than you are as the person that people feel like they know, and that's always...
What I found interesting about this bit is verbally, she is using this bit of a referential shift. She is not saying, I got to know these people, I fell in love with who they were outside of their characters. It's you get to know who they are. You get to basically detach them from who they play on screen, and you might speaking more about the audience than herself. So that's distancing. She doesn't necessarily feel that way directly and doesn't refer to that directly.
That's always nice and refreshing when you see that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, what do you feel like is the biggest misconceptions about fame and Hollywood in general?
I think the idea that people think that they know you, I think because of the how intrusive media is these days, there's people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work. And if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you. So I think the biggest misconception I see often is people feeling like they know someone that they don't. Because they know.
She continues to use a bit of distancing language, referring to they, you know, that, not in first person at all. She's not talking about herself directly, and she makes these subtle passive-aggressive remarks here, and she has this, that's not a real smile. It doesn't reach her eyes. She's not being warm and friendly with this interviewer. In fact, when you see her turn to her friend, she does occasionally smile, or really more frequently smile, to her friends than to the sport interviewer. And it seems that what she's saying is meant to take subtle jabs at this interviewer and potentially something this interviewer has done. Now, I don't know that for sure. I haven't seen anything that indicates that, but at the same time, it seems that Blake likely takes things out of context and very personally in the first place.
Know what the media has created of someone, and the disappointing thing is when you meet the people, they're always so much more awesome than they're portrayed to be. I mean, that's normally my experience. And even people that are portrayed to be really great people, they're just a lot more complicated.
It's also interesting how Blake, emphatic and passionate about what she's saying, even though she's not directly referring to herself. Interestingly, this friend next to her goes from warmth and connection, reaching out, to looking empathetic with that, her eyebrows turned down on the sides there, and looking a bit empathetic towards Blake as she believes Blake has possibly been slandered online, given this persona she doesn't actually have, her character has been assassinated, things like that. So that is what we're seeing here. I will end this here. Hopefully this has been helpful or entertaining at the very least. Let me know in the comments section. Check out my other videos, and thank you for watching.